Okay, we're live again. We have sound this time? Yes? Yeah? Well, you have to put it right. I'm stuck in my nose.
You
No,
do.
yeah, no, it's right. It's good right there. Okay.
Okay.
Do we have sound? Hello? This is like technical difficulties. Yes, we have sound. Shango recognizes us. All right. We are finally actually live. And I'm flying solo tonight because Uncle Kathy has a stabbing ear infection. So if you hear screaming from the other room, it's because, yes.
Right.
And as I said before, the doctors say she only has about 45 minutes to live.
That was like 10 minutes ago.
The doctor, she only has about 40 minutes to live. It's tragic. She was very pliable yet. Yes, it's Sunday night. Let me get this thing adjusted a little bit. All right. Let's so everybody's in the house here. Does not a special Nick R426 Hemi Fubar, Chris Freemesser, DJ Whitetail Fluff, Randall Munson, John Sabo, Danny Boyd, Charles S, Mexican Spec. Sorry to hear about Kathy. Yeah, I know, it's a shame. She was a good one. She was a good one. I got her when she was 15. She's still good. She's still, pliable. Let's see. Backup and talking. Felipe, yes. Felipe, 350 Chevy. Yeah, definitely. Does nothing special. I used to get them, made my eardrum rupture 2 different times. Yeah, she's really in pain. Like, she's like cool, and then all of a sudden she starts screaming and crying, and then it goes away. So, Kiwi's got his hands on a nice ride. Yes, he does. So Kiwi's out there now. I screwed up. I sent with a transmission kit for a 727, thinking that a lot of the parts were going to be interchangeable with the cast iron TorqueFlite, but they're not. And as it turns out, he's in the process of pulling the transmission out of it right now because it's just pissing ATF out of the front seal. But he got the motor running. If you went to his channel, if you are, of course, you've subscribed to Kiwi, obviously. My hands are dirty, right? You think I'd clean up before I went on live. So yeah, he's having transmission difficulties. The engine starts and runs. That's all good. Sounds really good. And yeah, issue with the transmission. It's just pissing fluid. But it does go into gear. So they're in the process of pulling the tranny out right now. And I have no idea what they're going to find when they pull it out. But that's what they're working on. Let's see. Eric's Garage. Tony, do you use shift kits in your trannies? Yes. Well, sometimes it's a whole, like a manual valve body, or sometimes it's just a shift kit, or just sometimes just leave them alone, depending on what the application is. And yes, Fubar just put up a link to Kiwi's channel, and you guys should absolutely go over there and sub. So he dropped his first installment on his Big Adventures, Kiwi's Big Adventure. He dropped the first installment on that today. So I'm sure there'll be more tomorrow. But yeah, they're having fun. Let's see. Oh God. Okay, Nick R. So do you know what that needle and seat thing is in the fuel line that he pointed out? He said you know what it is. Okay, Kiwi's clearly not familiar with the BBD or the Stromberg, because that actually is the needle and seat. So on most carburetor, every carburetor you can think of, you got to disassemble the carburetor to get to the needle and seat assembly, right? But on those carburetors, the Strombergs and then the BBDs, the needle and seat actually screws into the front of the carburetor, and then the fuel line screws into that. So yeah, I guess that threw it for a little bit of a loop, but that is needle and seat assembly. And I gotta make sure to remind him not to put it in backwards, because a lot of people will put it in backwards. Yeah, and it'll run for a few minutes, and then it'll start overflowing the carburetor. Let's see. Dr. Art is in the house. What's happening, Dr. Art? Real mechanics always have dirty hands. My grandpa's hands are permanently stained with oil and grease. Yeah, it's just a fact of life. It's just the way it works. Let's see. Paul Capizzola, what's happening, man? How am I liking the new shop? I love the new shop. I feel right at home. We've only been in there for like 3 days now, 4 days, whatever it is, and I feel right at home. So tomorrow tomorrow I'm going to okay, so we're going to start updating on projects. I have been in limbo the last couple of months, last several months, because first it was determining that yes, we're going to move. Then it was trying to find out where we're going to move to. Then it was securing that deal and then making all of that stuff happen. Then it was waiting and anticipating for all of the stuff to be done to make the shop ready for us to go. Then it was moving all of the stuff, or liquidating stuff from the old shop, moving things to storage, doing all kinds of stuff. So I have been like in absolute limbo for like the last several months. So now I'm finally back. We're finally going to get back on track and going to update on everybody on the various cars, projects, things that are going on. And we pick everything up where we left off before. So we're moving forward. And I absolutely wait till you see the new shop. Wait till you see it. It is so nice. I know you saw it while it was under construction and it was empty and everything. Wait until you see this. I feel it's perfect. It's perfect. Yes, John Sabo, propane. We are going to get back on our propane Belvedere. I've got the white XJ in there that we're going to set up for towing. So I'm going to cover that tomorrow. Update you guys on Bottle Rocket, Slag Hammer, the Belvedere, my first engine build, that 4.0 Jeep motor. So there's a little bit of twist to that. I'm probably forgetting a thing or two. But tomorrow I'll update everybody on everything. Good coffee, Cat. Huh? Yes. Okay. Tony, just received my internal combustion shirt. When blue-haired he hims, they them read the fine print, they'll get infuriated. Wait till you see the new shirt. Beyond that. So you guys who don't know what we're talking about, oh God, here I got thousands of them. So these are the shirts we're currently selling like thousands of. Can you see that? There you go. Internal combustion because a piece standing up. So these are in our store now. All of the sizes are in stock. So if you were looking to buy one of these, and because we went out of stock right away on a bunch of different sizes, but we have them all now. There's like I can't tell you how many boxes. So yeah, we've got all of the sizes back in stock. So if you want one of those shirts, you can get them now. Before they become collector's items, and then people start bidding them up on eBay. Forget about it. Shirt like that's going to go for $5,000-$6,000, no problem. Let's see. William Beardsley. Hi, 1972 Plymouth Satellite Sebring. Love those cars. Those are the sweetest freaking cars. 6.1 Hemi or 440 for daily driving. Oh, bro. You see, that's the thing, man. I'm an old school guy, right? So I'm automatically going to say 440, right? Actually, I'd probably say 400, like 400 or 440. Me, but that's me. And that's just because I love those engines. There's nothing wrong with a 6.1. There's just, if you ask me, it's just the extra complication that comes with running the 6.1 as opposed to the 440. You know, the 440 is a very simple setup. It's just connect the fuel line, you know what I mean? Plug in the ignition and drive down the road. Where the 6.1 swap is very involved. So if it was me, I would stick with the stuff that's in the spirit of that car and keep it as old school as possible. My friend Dave the Indian bought one of those. He had one brand new, black. He's got an RO23 satellite, superstar car he races, the Native American. But he bought one of those cars new, 72 satellite Sebring, 400 4-speed. And this car was, I didn't know the car when he had it. He ended up selling it to the guys over at Ace Radiator in Brooklyn. And this car was just premium. And then I did Cars Illustrated magazine, and around 1986 or 1987, somebody had put a 446 pack in that car, and we took her for a romp around the neighborhood there in Brooklyn. But it was 72 satellite Sebring plus, just beautiful car, beautiful car. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about anymore. Let's see. Big Billy Racing, did you and Dallas have a falling out? No, Dallas is just pursuing different things. You know what I mean? That's Dallas is doing Dallas's thing. We're fine. No, we haven't had a falling out. We're just off in different directions at the moment. Zero, I didn't see you sneak in there. What's happening, brother man? Let's see. Charles S. Uncle Tony, you've expressed your love for the 3D3. Why do you prefer it to the 440? I love the 440 also. The 3D3 is just such a flexible, happy engine. They're rev happy. You know what I mean? They respond. The power difference, the 57 cubic inches. Is that what it is? 57 cubic inches? Yeah, the 57 cubic inches. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't really show. It doesn't really show. And out of all of them, the 400 is the best. You know, I prefer the 3D3. I don't know why. I love the 3D3. The 440 is a great motor. I love the 440. I got the 440 in my 67 Charger. It's a torque freak, right? I love that engine. But out of all of them, out of all of the big block Chryslers, the 400 is the best. Mostly because the 400 takes full advantage of the bigger valves, the biggest valves you can put in a big block Chrysler head. So the 400 is the one. Better than the 400 is the 400, the 440 crank. If you use the short rod, you increase its torque profile. But yeah, I just prefer the 3D3. I just automatically grab a 3D3. Let's see. Silver Eagle Cobra. You watched Kiwi, no drama yet. And if you watched him, you notice he kept his pants on the whole episode, which is impressive if you ask me. You know what I mean? So he kept his pants on the whole time. And well, they're having drama right now. I've been back and forth on the phone with him for the last couple of hours. He's having transmission issues. So he's working on it right now. Well, let me see if I got an update from him. Let's see. Update from Kiwi. No update from Kiwi. Let's see. What's the weather like out there, Zero? I hear they got like an atmospheric river happening. Let's see. Ari, what's happening? Howdy. Remy Kushner is saying it's raining cats and dogs out there. Yeah, it's all over the national news that there's like this whole atmospheric river. I don't know. Is that? Oh, wait. Let's see here. Super Street. I'm trying to roll a cigarette and read these things at the same time because Kathy's usually doing this. But let's see. Super Street Garage. Hey, Tony, just wondering if you have seen any of Australian Hemi 6s or 6-cylinder barrel motors in person in the USA. No, none of them came here. None of them. And it's a shame, but I mean, it's just the way it is. People have been asking me about the Australian Hemi 6 now for as long as I've been doing this channel. And I've yet to see one in the flesh. I've seen pictures, I've seen videos, I've read a lot of them on those engines, but no, never. Dead Dodge Garage. Jamie, what's happening, brother, man? So Jamie's going to be with us on Wednesday night. He's taking Kiwi's place for Wednesday night Tech Talk. And you screwed up, Jamie. You screwed up. I saw the video you did on the Hemi car. You forgot. Okay, you talked about the front torque boxes, but you didn't talk about the rear torque boxes, and you didn't talk about the reinforcement plate on the pinion snubber. Yeah. See, I still know a couple of things, bro. Can't replace me yet. The triangulated mounts and the reinforcement. Yeah. Okay. You know why those rear mounts, the shackles? Do you know why they did that? So, so Tony is saying he watched your video. Yes, I watch all of his videos. Well, I don't watch all of them. I watch a good portion of his videos. He's awesome. He's awesome. The best. I'll tell you right now, right? I'm not a Mopar channel. He's a Mopar channel, right? He is the best Mopar channel on YouTube. Period. The end. Bar none. The best Mopar channel on all of YouTube. I just know more about Mopars than he does. Let's see. Charles S. is agreeing with me, I guess. Did I watch any of Sick Week? I saw a little bit of it. I've been catching like little clips here and there, but I haven't really sat down and watched any of it. Let's see. Oh, you don't have to defer to me, bro. You're your own thing. You're your own thing. Let's see. Eric Wilson, Armageddon is going to come and I'll still be driving my Honda 50. I have a Super Cup. I have a 125. Yes, and Ari just put up the link to Jamie over at Dead Dodge Garage. So if you're even remotely interested in Chrysler products, go over there and sub to Jamie and catch him Wednesday night with me. He's taking Kiwi's place this week and possibly next week. I have no idea when Kiwi's even coming home. If Kiwi's coming home, God only knows what's going to happen to him. You know, people are comparing him. People are comparing him to like to other YouTubers who did this stuff and Roadkill, right? But no. What Kiwi is doing is completely all right. So other YouTubers who do this sort of thing generally do it within several hundred to like up to maybe 900 or 1,000 miles from home, but their routes are always through populated areas. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you've only got like 25 or 50 miles between towns or areas where there's help and so on and so forth. You know, Kiwi's driving 1,000 miles through the freaking desert with this thing. And then you get the Roadkill. So people like, it's called Roadkill. What he's doing is called Roadkill. Roadkill is a whole team. There's what you see on camera. You know what I mean? You see the two guys on camera in their car. What you don't see is the entire support team behind them. There's a van with the tools and the extra gas and fuel. There's the camera people. There's the sound people. They travel in a caravan. So no, what Kiwi is doing is completely off on its own. He's going to be traveling 2,000 miles, 1,000 of it through desert, through like nothing, through like the vast nothingness of nowhere, you know, and with no help. Just he's got the guy Steve, who's ride along mechanic, Steve, and that's it. So no, what he's doing is like way different than other YouTubers and Roadkill. Let's see. Why are you not surprised about Roadkill? Roadkill is it's listen. I'm not taking anything away from Roadkill. Roadkill gave a lot to the community, right? Absolutely brought a lot of people in and gave people the idea that yeah, you can work with stuff, work with junk, just get it running. Don't worry about getting it running right. Just get it running right. Roadkill has been a real asset to the community. But what people have to understand is that Roadkill is it's a synthetic operation. It only appears to be Roadkill. It's really a whole team. Lots and lots of work, lots of people involved in producing one episode of Roadkill. Let's see. Seth Doss, update on the 69 AMX I asked about last week. Grandpa decided to just buy an HEI. His vision is getting so bad he can't work on points or anything. Started right up there and runs great. Awesome. Just pick up a module, pick up a spare module, and keep it in a glove compartment, because those aftermarket HEIs, those Chinese HEIs, they do drop dead on the side of the road. So pick up a spare module and throw it in a glove compartment. But yeah, whatever works, man. Whatever works. Yes, South Farmington, thank you. And you have a good week also. Oh, Raymond Campbell, very nice talking to you today at the swap meet. Well, it was nice talking to you too, man. I went to, they have a swap meet over in Nashville. It was big this year. A lot more people than usual. A lot more, just really spread out. And yeah, I met a few people. Raymond was one of the people I met. Yeah, awesome meeting all you guys. I always wondered how Roadkill drove expired cars on California highways, smoking up a storm and never got stopped. Yeah. Silver Eagle Cobra, has the move interrupted your rhythm and productivity? Extremely, extremely. My head, like I said, for the last several months has been occupied. So for me, it started about a year ago, because it was a year ago that I said, I've got 1 year left on this lease and I don't want to renew it. I want to move to a different location. I have a different vision now for what I want to do than I had when I moved into that shop. So the distraction started a year ago. Then we had to, decide we're definitely going to move. From that point, then it was, we're going to downsize. So we got to get rid of stuff, got to get rid of cars. I got rid of 2 cars, 4 motorcycles, a truck, engines, lots of engines, transmissions. I mean, 3 cars. I got rid of a bunch of cars. All in anticipation of making the move, just trying to lighten the load. So that took up time and space. And then finding the place took up time. There's been so much headspace involved in making this move. It's finally over, and I can focus on getting back to making content. I really haven't been focusing on the channel the way I've been focusing on the background parts of the channel, but not the stuff that goes out. So yeah, we're getting back on it now. And gain 5 XJs. Yeah, well, no, I'm 3. I only have 3 XJs. I got rid of 3 XJs. I have 3 XJs, but the 3 XJs are the ones that I'm going to keep. Eric Cush, what is my favorite bike? I'm a Sportster guy. The Sportster is my default motorcycle. And yes, I know they're turds. I know, I get it. Believe me, I know nobody knows Sportsters are turds more than I do. Trust me, I've been screwing around with them for decades. I've had a countless number of them, and I know the kind of flaming pieces of shit that they are. They're my motorcycle. That's my default motorcycle. So, yes, that's my favorite bike. Did you get rid of that burn bike? Yeah, I did. I put off getting rid. All right, so I was going to move it to storage, right? So I was like, I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, do I really want to screw around with this, or do I just want to get it out of my hair? And I put it off to the very last minute. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna hook this thing up to the back of the wrecker and drag it to the scrapyard and just be done with it, right? And then it got down to, it was the afternoon. It was the afternoon, early evening of January 31st, right? And I have to be out of there, okay, to meet my obligation. So I'm looking at the bike and I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? So I said to the landlord, right? Because the landlord was in there working on a place. I says, do you want this thing? And he's like, I don't know what to do with it. I says, well, let's throw it in a dumpster. He says, that's a lot of work. He says, I have a better idea. Let's just put it out at the curb. So he rolls it out to the curb and puts a free sign on it, right? And practically caused a traffic jam on Highway 96. It's like people are driving past at 60 miles an hour. They see free motorcycle and jamming on the brakes. It was crazy. And it only sat there for maybe like 2 hours before somebody came back with a trailer and dragged it away. So yeah, I needed to get rid of that thing. Ruckus, you consider to go to Turkey for a hair transplant. Firefly, Tony, is he going to use lead substitute to get those valves to seal in the wagon? Would it actually work on such a resurrection job? No, it's not necessary. Not for the trip that he's going to make. And again, and I've said this before, not all cylinder heads are created equal. So by 1971, 1972, everybody universally had hardened seats, but different manufacturers spec'd different materials and different procedures for their cylinder heads. And Chrysler's, especially those polyhead motors, never had a problem dropping valves. Some engines absolutely need the lead substitute, or within, let's say, 10,000 miles, it'll start to sink the exhaust valves. And some engines don't need any lead substitute at all, and they will literally run forever and ever and never sink a valve. And those early polyhead motors are kind of like that. So I don't think he needs lead substitute. I wouldn't bother with it if it was mine. Uncle Tony causing one more bit of chaos before leaving the old shop. I don't miss that place. I honestly, Kathy's like, do you miss it? And I'm like, no, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. I had the first year that I was in there, I really enjoyed it. The second year, things started like, okay, so the first year I was in there, I had big dreams, I had big plans, okay? And I was putting all of that together. And then the second year that I was in there, I was putting those plans together and putting them in action. And at the time I had two teams of people building a car. I had Andy with the Hemi GTX, his car was in there. There was like a buzz of activity. So the place was a big place. And so there was lots of activity. There were lots of things going on. Dallas had stuff going on there. There was a lot of things. And then towards the end of the second year, stuff just wasn't working the way I had planned it to. So by the end of the second year, I was like, okay, none of this is going to work. I got to get back to where it's just me doing stuff. And then when it's just back to me doing stuff, that place was just way too big, way too spread out. So the last year that I was in there, I was pretty like miserable. I didn't like going there. You know, usually I have a shop and I wake up in the morning and I cannot wait to get to my shop to pick up where I left off the day before. And for the last year, I have not wanted to be there. So now we're in this new place and it's like, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm like that again. I'm getting like that now. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to be in my shop. Let's see. James Penta. I put out a lot of wrong information. Okay, hang on a second. Let me finish a cup of coffee before I address this, because it looks like you're accusing me of something. Ice cold coffee. Exactly what we need. Okay. James Penta. How can you say that a big block Mopar was from 68 to 78? We're much earlier than you put a lot of the wrong information. I love a lot of your content, but I'm seeing so much that is outrageously wrong. Where did I ever say the big block Mopar is from 68 to 78? 58 to 78. I don't know where you got that, James. Don Bella, do a video on selling off stuff. I need to downsize. Don, I got to tell you something, right? There's There's a lot to that. There's a lot to that about downsizing, about balancing your possessions, because you get to a point, and I've been guilty of it many times over the course of my life, where your possessions own you instead of you owning your possessions. And keeping things downsized and like purging and stuff like that is a way to really retake control of your life, right? And there's also stages of your life that you go through, like as a car person. Like, give you an example. Give you an example, right? When you're a younger car guy, right? So you're in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, okay? That's the time to accumulate as much stuff as you can, right? Dream big, accumulate big, keep expanding, keep, every time you find stuff, bolts, things, right? Hoard them, build, build an arsenal, right, of stuff, projects and parts and engines. And that's what you do when you're in your 20s and your 30s, okay? You get to your 40s and your 50s, you really got to hustle. You work on that stuff. Stop accumulating at that stage, okay? Stop accumulating and just work on the things, the projects that you've got. Obviously, you come across a sweet deal on a car, grab it, work on that. But I'm talking about bigger picture, okay? You don't be so much focused on acquisition when you're in your 40s and 50s. Be more focused on working with what you've already got, okay? And then you get to my age, you're in your 60s, okay? And I was like, I find myself, I have like thousands and thousands of bolts, okay? Like, and I've got them stored everywhere. I've got containers, I've got bolt bins, I got all kinds of stuff, thousands and thousands of fasteners. And as I'm going through them, I'm like, I will never use these, right? I'm going through like, I have a container that's just fine thread flywheel bolts, okay? And I'm plucking them out of there, and I'm plucking out like bolts for like flywheel bolts for a top fuel dragster. And I'm like, I will never in my life ever again do that. Why am I storing these things? So it's like, so you get to 60s, you get 60s or so, and now you have to start refining, start getting rid of stuff, start like just focusing in on the things you really, really want, the things that you're motivated by. You see what I'm saying? So it's all different stages of life. You have different priorities as far as what you do with cars. Let's see. Sylvia Cobra is saying the moment you toss it, instantly you need one. Oh, I know that the name of that tune too. But there are limits. There are limits. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I'm finding a bunch of like random interior parts that I've saved. Okay, like as I was cleaning up the shop, there's like 4-door Valiant door panels, and inner door panels and stuff like that. There's vent windows and vent window assemblies, and it's like, why am I holding on to this? I will never, if I was in my 20s, yeah, stack that stuff away, because you never know, you're going to come across, or you can turn it into cash or whatever it is. But now it's like, what am I doing with this stuff? This is just more clutter for me to trip over, to like take me away from like the focused vision that I want to have to get the most out of the cars that I already own. Territory, Tony, I realized I was hoarding when I stuffed vintage Land Rover in my house's crawl space. Guess what? Up in my attic, I have a 66 Valiant. Okay? You're joking around, okay? I have a 66 Valiant in my attic. I chopped this car. This was like, I don't know, maybe like 15 years ago, all right, or thereabouts. And I was like, okay, this is hard, because it was a hardtop. It was a Signet hardtop. So like the roof, the top of the quarters, like there's a lot of unique body parts to that car. And I cut it up, and it's in the attic. Roof, cowl, the door jambs, parts of the rear quarters, all sorts of stuff. There's most of a 66 Valiant in my attic. Downsizing is not easy. You're right. It's not. It's not because oh man. Because okay, so I'm a hoarder. All Mopar guys are generally hoarders, right? It's part of the DNA of the Mopar guy. We hoard stuff, right? And yeah, it's really hard getting rid of stuff. But it's like, again, do you own you? Do you own you, or do your possessions own you? You know what I mean? So I don't mind being owned by my possessions as long as my possessions are cool and functional and practical, and I get something out of them. But when my possessions is just random piles of parts, I get nothing out of that except just owning random piles of parts. And I don't want to be one of those guys. I know and have known so many old timers that are they're in their 70s. Okay, they won't let go of anything. They won't let go of anything. There's a guy that I know locally. I'm not going to mention his name, right? This guy has had he's got to be 75. He weighs a good 400 pounds. He's been on death's door for years. He's he's a walker and that kind of stuff. Oxygen type. This guy he's a wreck. Okay, but he's got containers. He's got shipping containers full of parts, and it's every once in a while you'll need something. It's like, hey man, I need some shift linkage for an inland shifter. What do you got? Oh, I can't get rid of that. I got the coronet over there. There's a 4-speed that I need that linkage for that car. You'll die before you ever even get near that car. I said, I don't want. My biggest fear at this stage of the game is to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. Peter Kovacs, at some point you got to pass the torch. Can't take it with you. Help a brother out, for Pete's sake. Dude, I give a lot of stuff away. Now, but see, the thing is, right? I don't have the time or the inclination to ship the stuff. I sold several things, like Facebook Marketplace and all that, but I only wanted to sell or give away. So the way this was working, okay, was I'd list like a pair of sonar heads, all right, on Marketplace, way undervalued. Okay, so I listed a pair of ported 906s for like $100. Okay, these heads are beautiful. They were really, really nice heads. I listed them for like $100, and the guy came to pick them up, and I was like, okay, hey, do you have any use for that? You have any use for that? Do you have any use for that? And he's like, I was like, give me $10 for that. Give me $20 for that. Give me $5 for that. And I loaded this guy's truck. I did the same thing with Kevin Shaw from Mopar. What was it? He doesn't think it was Mopar or something, or the Mopar Connection. He's up in Hendersonville. He came down to buy a couple of things, and I was, hey, while you're at it, take that and take that. Hey, take that stack intake manifolds. Oh, there's those extra heads over there. Take those too. He loaded up. He literally loaded up the back of a pickup truck and sent them down the road with it. So it's like I've been giving stuff. Well, I've been selling it, but I've also been giving it away. Free stuff is always good stuff. Gerhard Bratz, I'm a retired mechanic and I'll be dead before I use most. Yeah, I know. Get rid of it, bro. Get rid of it. Pass it on to somebody who can use it. Silver Eagle Cobra, how do you turn your mind so you can just take a loss on the hoarding? Taking a loss is okay. So taking a loss is relative. It's relative. Like, for instance, I'm just gonna throw a rough example. Okay, you buy a load of parts, okay, and you pay, let's say, $1,000 for that load of parts, and you sell off, half the load of parts, and you profit $3,000 from that. Well, the stuff that's left over may have the equivalent $3,000 value, but you've already made your money back over the investment, then some. So you're not taking a loss. You're taking a unit loss, but you're not taking an investment loss. That's how I justify things like that. Raymond Campbell. Raymond, you're the guy with the gasser. Yes, very cool car. So he's building an AMC, a Rambler gasser, and he did something really cool. He was showing me pictures of the mock-up stage, right? So he started out with the same front axle that I have in Sledgehammer. His out of a 50 something. It's got a little bit of an extra whoop-de-doo in the center of it. So he started out with just the front end of the car, and he built the chassis out of wood, like to mock it up out of wood, which is brilliant. You know what I mean? I don't know why most people do. People sit around the ways. Oh, I got to wait till I go to order the steel. I got to, No, he got smart about it. He mocked up the chassis of this car out of wood, did all of the things that he had to do. Created the form, and now he had a perfect template to make the permanent frame rails out of. Brilliant idea. Simple. I don't know why. I've never thought of it. And thinking back on this 1,000 times, I could have mocked up something out of wood, but I didn't. No, you smart. Okay. Mark says Mark Jones. Hi, Tony. A few weeks back, I asked you and Kiwi about torsion rods, my 70 Plymouth Roadrunner. I found where to buy through your friend at Mopar Connection, Kevin. Oh, Kevin Shaw. Yeah, well, there you go. I was just talking about Kevin Shaw a minute ago. Riff Raff Ruckus. My father hoarded cars and parts. He left me with the burden of cleaning up his mess. That's the other thing too. Yeah, you really need to have some consideration for your descendants. You know what I mean? Because they got to clean up your mess. Danny Boyd, modern air dispensers at gas stations suck. Please tell me about it. I know that. What's up with that? Remember, are you old enough to remember when every gas station had the hose left outside? Right, because I was one of them. I had a gas station, service station on Staten Island, and at night you left your air hose. You left the compressor on, and you left your air hose outside, so that when people pulled up, if they needed air, they would just pull up to the bay door and they'd take your air hose and they'd fill up their tire and then drive off. Now it's like no, it's like $3 for like 60 seconds or the dial a pound. Dakota. My Pontiac 55 is getting 5 to 7 pounds of oil pressure at idle, about 40 to 60 while driving. Is that oil pressure at idle okay? Bro, I almost guarantee you, because Pontiacs are known for lifter bushings or the lifter bores wear on those things. I remember having that problem with a couple of different Pontiacs way back in the day. You know what? I'll tell you what. If it's a hydraulic lifter motor and it's got enough oil pressure to support the lifters, then don't worry about it. 5 to 7 pounds. It's not optimum, but it's definitely enough to keep everything from welding itself together. It's enough to keep an oil wedge between the bearing and the crankshaft at idle, right, and low speed. Under, let's say, 1,000 RPM. As long as you're coming up to like 40, 60 psi at road speed, you're fine, man. Don't worry about it. It'll freak a lot of people out. That would freak a lot of people out, but don't let it freak you out. It's fine. Let's see. Texas Garage. Tell me, I recently bought the 66 Charger I was telling you about in your last live stream. What's your thoughts on diesel engine swaps? I'm going to be swapping it due to car quality. It will be a daily. Man, I don't know. A diesel and a 66 Charger? Look, it's not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea. I got to be honest with you, right? But that's not to say it won't be cool. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm the wrong guy to ask about that. but do it. I mean, do it. Don't do it, but don't carve the car up. Like if you could do it, if you could swap a Cummins in there without like hacking the firewall out of it and stuff like that, then go ahead and do it. Do it. You'll be the only one with one, that's for sure. When's my birthday? It's in May. Yeah. Okay, Jay Valentino. How do you guess that it was in May? Thank you for the super chat, Jordan. Appreciate the content as always. Thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate that. So I want to know how Jay Valentino knew that I was born in May. Hey Hill, 40 degrees in Cleveland, almost Ironhead time. It's in the 50s. So it's been beautiful. Like yesterday, it was like 67. Today was in the 50s. I haven't ridden. I got my bikes just sitting in the garage over here. Will I be making videos from Kiwi's Customs and deserted shops as he would be able for a while? I should go in there and just start working on all of his stuff, right? Probably not. Probably not. He's too smart to give me a key to the place. Dakota is right. Dakota is right. I was born on the same exact day. Is no lie. Okay, I was born on the same exact day that the first Max Wedge rolled off the assembly line. Three-T Magnum. You're going to change out the dash and the charger. Those Carnage gauge clusters are kind of lame for a B-body Mopar. No, I have. I actually have up in the attic. There's a lot of stuff up in the attic. I actually have a complete 66 Carnage dash, everything, and it's nice. It's really nice. And I had considered throwing that in the charger because one of the charger is so ratty. But instead, I'm just gonna cruise through and accumulate the parts I need to make the charger and the dash on the charger nice. Everything functional. It's really beat up. It's a mess. But no, I'm just gonna slowly just I keep my eyes open, and as I come across pieces, I'll pick them up and put them on the side for that. Resneck, I'm looking for a 65 Dodge Dart factory altered wheelbase from Chicago in the 90s. It was called Yellow Jacket. There's no such thing as a factory 65 altered wheelbase Dart. They did B bodies only. They built 11. Amberwagon did 11 of them, and there was a 12th car that was built by Chrysler, the mule car. But no, there was no such thing as a factory altered wheelbase 65 Dart. Charles S. Uncle Tony, now that you've moved, are we finally going to get a conspiracy channel from you? Not necessarily a conspiracy channel, but one of the things that we're setting up for at the new place, the back half of it, I'm going to do a walkthrough of it tomorrow, so you guys can see what we got going on there. But I can't really say very much, not because I'm trying to be secretive at all, right? The ideas are still formulating in my head what I want to do. We definitely are going to set up to do a podcast in the back. Now, whether that podcast is going to be for YouTube or one of the other platforms, I don't know yet, and I don't know how far off of my current beaten path I want to go. That's something I'm still working on, right, mentally. And when I have a clearer idea, I'll tell you guys. but I don't yet. I'm still putting pieces together, and I'm still watching the world to see what, because timing is everything. Timing is everything. You have to, yeah. Excuse me. Oof. Mexican. I hate Mexican today. So you have to. You don't want to be too far ahead of your time. You don't want to be out of time, right? You want to be in time with certain things, okay? And so I'm keeping my finger on the pulse of what's going on in the world beyond just like what we normally focus on. And I'm waiting for just the right time. When the right time and the right idea come along, we'll go down that path, but not yet. It's not time to do that yet. Like I have a Hypermiler, like I mean, an example, just as an example, I have a Hypermiler build planned, okay, but it's on hold. It's on hold because it's not on anybody's mind right now, right? When gas temporarily was up there in a $4.50, $5 a gallon range, right? Here it was even more expensive out on the West Coast, like $7 a gallon. That's the time to do a Hypermiler build. But if I was to do a Hypermiler build right now, nobody really cares. So that's why it's just sitting there in the back on hold. I have the whole thing planned out in my head. I know exactly what I want to do with it, all of the steps I want to take and all the experiments I want to make. But now's not the time to do it. So it's the same thing with this podcast. I'm keeping an eye on things and how they were evolving in all different levels. And when I have a clearer picture of what I want to do, you guys will be the first to know it. Michael Smith, I'd love to see a Hypermiler build. Yes, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. Okay. But the problem is it's you and me and maybe like 12 other people that want to see it. And remember, this is a business. YouTube is a business. And we have to do videos that appeal to a broad audience. You see what I'm saying? So it's just not time for that yet. When the time is right, that will have a really broad audience. So it's coming. It's coming. Zero saying in marketing, sometimes you have to wait until it's trendy. Yep, exactly. What's on the comparing Mrs. Landy and the British Green Duster, which is quicker? Oh, the Duster. Mrs. Landy ran a 22-second eighth mile. That's go figure that one out, right? With 21 seconds. I mean, a 21-second eighth mile. So yeah, go figure that one out. Let's see. Robot Cantina is doing hypermiling regularly. But if that's the nature of their channel, then yeah, of course, that's cool. But that's not the nature of our channel. So for us to introduce something that's that far out of the general nature at this time is not right. But if you do a channel based on that, then yeah, or that kind of thing, you've already got the audience for it. Jordan Koch, I know you don't want to get back into it, but I would love to see more Nitro content. It's like, okay, specifically, what do you want to see? That's what I want to know. What do you want to see as far as Nitro content goes? Riff Ruckus, Tony, have you commented on the Black Knight famous New York street racing Camaro? That belongs to Levi Holmes. Levi's an old friend of mine from generations ago. Levi's a great guy. He's a class act. I mean, Levi Holmes is a true gentleman, right? I mean, this guy is like he's top notch, which is one of the reasons why that whole the Black Ghost thing pissed me off the way it did, because I know the people who legitimately were that, you know what I mean? And like at the time that the Black Ghost was supposedly out being the Black Ghost, Levi was out there, like literally Levi was out there with his Camaro. It was a pro stock car. In 1970, he ran this thing as a pro stock car, the Black Knight Camaro, okay? And he was street racing this thing. And he was street racing in New York, New Jersey, and occasionally he'd run out to like places like Detroit. So he was the real deal. You say one of many, but he was like the real deal. So, but that's the Black Knight. That's Levi Holmes, awesome guy. And eventually, I will get together with him. Maybe we'll do a live at some point. I did see that video. Him and Alan Cord, yeah, great guys. Really, really good guys. So if you haven't seen it, look that up. Just look up Black Knight. And the guy did a video on it very recently. I can't think of the name of the channel, otherwise I tell you what it was. But yeah, really, really cool guy. Let's see. Buell 1190 Hammerhead. I do want a Buell. I was actually talking to Kathy about that today. She was like, we were walking through the SWAT meeting, and I was like, I don't want anything else. I got everything, And he says, well, me, I need a sport bike. So I just got to be a Buell. I got to find a Buell, but I don't know which one I want yet. Let's see. Kiwi got it running good. Yes, the engine runs really good. And when I left, I talked to Kiwi about an hour ago. Let me see if he's messaged me. You guys want a Kiwi update? I'll call him. Let's get a Kiwi update. I'm gonna put him on speaker. Okay, I don't know if you guys can hear this or not. Can you hear the phone ringing?
Thanks for calling Kiwi Classics and Customs.
All right. He'll probably call me back. All right. I'll try them again in a few minutes. They're under. The last time I talked to them was about an hour ago, and they were pulling the transmission out of the car. So, 426 Hemi. What about a live with your friend Franco, East Coast Nitro? Yeah, okay, we could do that. Who asked me about the Nitro stuff? Let me roll back up through here. Let's see. Oh, Zero put up the link to the Black Knight. Okay, good. Thank you, Zero. All right, I don't see the thing about the Nitro. Oh, what do you have to do to start optimizing for Nitro? Oh, Jordan, that's so let's see. Oh, Jeff, what's happening, brother, man? Actually, you know what, Jeff? We were just talking about you today. Actually, we were just talking about you today. What are you building a chassis jig for? It's going to be something cool. I know it. Jeff, I'm gonna throw you a text sometime tomorrow, and I'll tell you why we were looking for you. Yes, cost 60. Yes, I know. I assumed, and wrongly so, that the seals would be the same, but they're not. And I found that out afterwards. So I actually looked up the correct seal number, the national seal number, and I gave it to Kiwi. And you guys should be able to get it through any of the local chains. I did that right before I got on live over here. All right, you cut 11 feet off your dragster, and you're pretty much rebuilding everything. Oh, geez. All right, well, hang on. Let me try to call Kiwi again. Jeff, I'll catch up with you on the phone tomorrow about that stuff. Hello, Robert Shaw.
Thanks for calling Kiwi Classics and Customs.
It's still going to voicemail. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Joseph Litzer, rings. Perfect circle, maybe, for 413. 30 over. Oil expanders came oversized and have some type of plastic pin in the inside. Yeah, I know what you're talking about there. Can you tell me how to cut, fit, and what to do with that plastic pin? The plastic pin just butts together at the ends. That's all that is. It's just like a buffer for the ends. But no, don't use them if they're oversized. Don't use them. Yeah, I'm trying to reach Kiwi now. We'll get an update. Yeah, Kiwi's buddy Steve is cool. He is. He's a really very cool guy. Very cool guy. Jordan, thank you for the super chat. Okay, a few episodes series would be cool. Yes, you can add certain percentage of nitro, but at some point it is a bomb, right? Nitro is never a bomb. Nitro, it's hard to explain. It's such an odd subject. Okay, first off, gasoline and nitro don't mix, right? You can use tiny percentages of nitro, 1-2% in gasoline, and then that's it. At that point, it starts to detonate, right? What you're doing is you're actually reducing the octane of gasoline. You can run, let's say, up to like approximately 10% with alcohol and keep it an alcohol tune-up. But once you get to around 15-20% nitro, then it becomes a very detonation-prone engine. And you have to start feeding a tremendous amount of volume. And there's like a dead zone, okay, between 20% and like 60%, right? Or thereabouts, where you can't be happy. There's just no happy. It's either going to be a weak suck nitro motor or a strong damage-prone alcohol motor. And then you get above 60 into the 70 and 80%, and then you become a true nitro motor, and then it becomes easier on parts. Okay, there's like a curve to it. There's a curve to it. Nothing is really simple when it comes to the concepts of burning nitro. Or like the way you're saying, you can add a certain percentage. It's never that simple. There are so many different aspects to it all. Unstable. Nitro by itself is never unstable. Nitro by itself is like extremely benign, right? It's not explosive. It's that okay. Nitro has the same specific gravity as water, okay, and it flows like water does. It burns like kerosene, right, or even actually cooler than kerosene does. Like if you were to just light a puddle of nitro on fire, first off, you'd have a hard time getting it lit, right? And then once it lit, you would get this like pale blue flame, but very pale and very like low temperature. You know what I'm saying? Like you could douse your hand in nitro, light your hand on fire, and just look at it burn, and you wouldn't feel it. You see what I'm saying? It's like it burns. It's such a benign burning thing. It's only when it's compressed. When you compress it, right, then it becomes never unstable. It becomes volatile, right? It becomes unstable when you mix it with what's called an amine, right? So things like a simple example of that would be bleach. Bleach and nitro create a shock-sensitive explosive. There are other exciters like hydrazine. I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head. There's a bunch of them. I was really into this stuff for a long time, but it was a long time ago. There are things that will make nitro unstable, but nitro in itself is not unstable. And Zero is right. This is not lighting your hand on fire with nitro advice. I leave that to the professionals. What about jet fuel? Jet fuel is kerosene. Jet fuel is diesel fuel. Like you pull up to the car, it's diesel. It's just diesel. That's what jet fuel is. It's a highly refined diesel. Well, thank you, Loud Pipes. Thank you for the super chat. What are the odds Kiwi's big adventure goes viral and takes the spotlight from High School Garage? Probably slim to none. Probably slim to none. But wouldn't that be awesome? Let's try him one more time.
Hey.
Kiwi.
Hey.
You're on speakerphone, bro.
Hiya.
Yeah, you're on live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sunday Night Live.
Yeah, we got like 400 people asking what's going on with Kiwi.
What's going on with Kiwi? Kiwi's fucking wondering about the wisdom of his choices doing this thing. We got the transmission out at last. That was a challenge. That was, you kind of have to pull. You take the transmission off the bell housing and like you got to pull it out of the converter, and the converter drops down. And it's kind of a weird setup. There's a bolt on the inside of the bell housing that holds the bell housing to the block.
Yeah.
And you can't get to that with the converter in play. It's a bit of a challenge, but we've got it out and we just gave it a bit of a clean. And I think I've got a seal coming. Hopefully it's the right one tomorrow from Amazon. And you're going to talk me through the installation of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds simple enough.
Yeah. So is it just that, like, we've got the bell housings off the transmission, and there's like a snout, and there's just a rubber O-ring seal in there? Is that what it is? Like a rubber?
No, it's a regular seal. I looked at pictures of it.
Yeah, it looks like a regular seal. That just pushes in you just knock it out. It's like a wheel bearing seal almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And that holds all that oil in. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So how is everything else?
Everything else is good. The engine's, running good. It's a little fumey, but then that may improve on the run. But yeah, it was pretty cool getting it started. We managed to get it running and there was just so much going on. I got some video footage of it, but it fired up and it was running on about maybe 4 cylinders, and it was kind of neat. We were holding the RPMs up around 2,500, 3,000, and you could hear the extra cylinder, the other cylinders
Coming to life.
firing start to come to life, and the RPMs would pick up and it would sound smoother, and then 20 seconds later another cylinder would come to life, and eventually we had all 8, and it starts really quick now. It starts easy, and it's running on all 8. Runs really idle, super smooth.
And you've driven it?
Yeah, we drove it. I'm probably only a few hundred yards, but I've driven it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was. It's been a challenging few days. Yesterday was a really good. Like Friday was not so good because we couldn't get it started. Yesterday was really good because we did get it started and we got a lot of things knocked off the list. We got the brakes done. We got a few lights in it, and things were going along nicely. And we were just ready to head off home about midday today. Hopefully, start the trek back, and couldn't get it to drive. And when we put enough oil in it to make it move, it was basically coming out the bottom about as fast as we were pouring it in the top. So. We got a few hundred yards, and it was already starting to lose drive, and got it turned around, limped it back, and pulled the transmission out. But it was just you could see where I'd driven down the road, like it was like a one of those road marking trucks that's been down there spraying transmission oil instead of paint. So it was in a pretty sorry state, but I don't know. We'll get an oil seal in it and see how the rest of it works.
Can you see if that seal is bad?
I really, honestly, haven't had much of a chance to have a look. We just kind of took it out into the lot and started cleaning it, and I haven't had a chance to have because it's dark here now already.
What did that thing weigh?
A lot. That's an imperial measurement. Like, I don't know whether you're aware of that or not, but there's heavy, there's really heavy, there's effing heavy, and then there's a lot.
Like I said, I did one of those about 30 years ago. And that's the thing that stands out in my mind. The only thing I really remember from that build was how heavy it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the internals are made of gold or something. It's that heavy. How can something that's not that big weigh that much?
It was completely unreasonable.
Completely unreasonable. That's the way of putting it. Yeah.
All right. So you put up the first installment today. Yeah. Yep.
I'm going to go back to the motel now and try and put day 2 together for you guys.
Awesome. When is that going to be up?
This evening sometime.
Awesome.
Yeah, depends how long it takes. It's a little bit slow trying to get stuff downloaded on the motel Wi-Fi. It just takes forever. So, but I'll try and put something together. But yeah, it was probably a pretty good day yesterday. So, but yeah, we took a step backwards today, but hopefully it'll be a better day tomorrow.
All right. Go ahead, man. I know you're busy. You got a lot of stuff going on over there.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And we still don't have a motel to stay in tonight. We're going to go and find one of them. Yeah. So the adventure continues. Let's say that. All
right, go ahead, brother, man. Go back to what you're doing, and
okay.
We'll look for that installment tonight.
All righty.
All right, brother.
Cheers, bud. Bye. Thanks, man. Bye.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot to ask him if he was wearing pants. Oh, all right. Let's see. Sal just had, I don't know who Sal is, but he just had an iron TorqueFlite rebuilt, $4,500. Why 45? How $4,500? That's insane. Let's see. Mark Swab, there was a guy years ago at a track I raced at a Slant 6 Roadster with a push button TorqueFlite. Well, yeah, okay, so all of the TorqueFlites were push button until 64. Actually, 65 was still cable shift, but they put it on the column and they put it on a regular shift column. But all of the TorqueFlites up until 64 were push button. Okay, But this is the cast iron version of the TorqueFlite. This is the earliest version of the TorqueFlite, and it weighs. It's literally insane how much this freaking thing weighs. The guts inside are like a normal TorqueFlite, but the housing is cast iron. So that's what he's dealing with over there. Does it have brakes yet? Yeah, he said that they put front brakes in it, and they wouldn't pull the back wheels off, but they put front brakes in it, bled out the system, drove it, and he says he's got a good pedal and the thing stops. Straight Bullet is saying $4,500 better have included the whole car. Yeah, the A466 has drum parking brake on the upper. Yeah, there's no park position in it. There's reverse, and that's it. Yes, and Zero just put up the link to Kiwi's channel so you guys can go get the updates directly from the horse's mouth. Oh, you installed Kiwis for? Oh, that's right. You're hands-on over there. That's right. A lot of people don't know that, but the early Chrysler drum brake setup had two wheel cylinders on each. It had an upper wheel cylinder and a lower wheel cylinder. Which motor? It's the Plymouth Poly head. It's the normal Plymouth Poly. The closest I saw was a 64 Chrysler 300 letter series factory stick shift a few years ago. They had them in 63 also. They used a French transmission, French built transmission, but I don't remember the name of Ponce something or other, right? On the 63, and then in 64 they had the regular 833. Why two wheel cylinders? Because we won the Walrus. That's right. Jim Dupre, I can see rocker covers in Kiwi's video. It's not a Hemi. No, it's not a Hemi. It's a Poly. But a 392 Hemi is going in that car. We're going to build it on my channel, and he's going to put it in his. Rear axle work is a bear on us. I know. Please. The Woodruff key rear axle is just such a pain in the ass. I know. I know all about it. Sam Bryant, Edelbrock VRS or Sniper EF5 for extreme angles and off-road use. That's one of the few places where I would use the EFI. That's one of the few places where I say, yeah, if you're going to go for extreme angles and bouncing around and stuff like that, I would go with the EFI over the carburetor. Look into propane. The propane setup that I'm putting on the Belvedere actually came from a guy that had a rock crawler. So they run the propane because it doesn't matter. Any angle, it runs exactly the same. So if we want an even simpler setup than in either the Edelbrock or the Sniper, throw a propane setup on there. Okay, Dean Stevenson, thank you. Pont-à-Mousson Commune in France and the gearbox in 61, 62 Dodge. James, you're like you must be psychic, because Kathy and I were literally just talking about him yesterday or the day before, and she talks to him all the time. She's always her and Neil have been talking to each other now for decades, right? I don't know. He's weird, man. He's weird. He just kind of like hangs to himself. I wish he would get back into this stuff. I really do. He has a lot to offer. I mean, he has a lot of knowledge. He has a lot of history. He has a lot of but to get him to actually do stuff. He was going good with that channel. Like, he started off going really strong, and then he just fell off, and that was it. So I don't know. Like I said, Kathy talks to him all the time. I haven't talked to him in quite a while. Not that I have anything against him or anything like that. It's just I'm busy, you know what I mean? And he likes to talk. He really likes to talk. Territory. And what mileage range would you consider using the record to help Kiwi? Let's call it. Oh man, don't put me on the spot with this. I go as far as Oklahoma. I would go as far as Oklahoma. Joe K, did you watch the Big Snow Mountain Party with Whistle and Diesel, Cletus, and Weston Chapel? No, I did see Whistle and Diesel. I just saw it where he put the jet motor on Monster Max. I thought that was pretty cool. But no, I didn't see anything else besides that. Is your record big enough for Kiwi's land yet? No, I just take the trailer. Yeah, jet engine on his truck, because Monster Max needs more. End of time. Kiwi's regulation. Go look at his video. He posted a video today. Go to his channel and check out it is beautiful. It's really, really nice. It's surprisingly nice. Chris, my friend, I thought he was going to say the Publix down the road. No, I would. It just depends. Yeah, but I would probably if he was really stuck. If he was really, really stuck. I'd take a trip. I'd go about as far as Oklahoma. About 400 or 500 miles. I don't have the time. Tony, can you spice your current channel with some fails and explosions? We've had plenty of fails, bro. And actually, we've had a few explosions too, come to think of it. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be more fails, more explosions. Yeah, definitely. We'll spice it up. Mexican spec. Tony, the rear drums on a Mexican car 62 deployment was separate from the axle. Why didn't they do that in the U.S.? I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. But it's a colossal pain in the ass. Charles asks, what does a car like Kiwi's wagon weigh? Looks as though it's built like a tank. It's probably right about 4,000 pounds. William Beardsley, have you commented on the race you spoke of last Wednesday night? I don't remember what race you're talking about. Which race, William? Barracuda. Looks like GM have completely ditched their EV production plants. There's so much to that. So John Cope sent me a link yesterday or the day before. I don't know, he texted me a link that now there's a problem with guardrails. Okay, so now there's a problem with guardrails. So evidently, the guardrail, the regular Armco guardrails is they put on the side of highways, right, interstate highways. It's rated for a 5,000-pound vehicle, so it's not supposed to stop like an 18-wheeler. But they figure that the average weight of a vehicle on the road is about 5,000 pounds, under 5,000 pounds, and so that's what they're rated for. But as it turns out now, the EVs are significantly heavier. And when one of them encounters one of these Armco guardrails, it just goes right through them. So there was a deal where a Rivian got tangled up in a guardrail, and it just went right through the guardrail and hit something else that was like off on the side. So now they have to because this whole EV thing, now they have to rethink all of the guardrails all over the country. Yeah, this is like. Silver Cobra, everyone is done drinking the EV Kool-Aid, partially thanks to your observations. Too bad the Viking never took you up on your EV debate. I like to think that I had a part of it. But here's the thing though, right? Here's the thing. I don't really want to see EVs eliminated, okay? Because I've said it 1,000 times. I don't have a problem with EVs in and of themselves. I have a problem with the government with these things being forced on the public. Okay, that's my problem. EVs have a place. They're a good second vehicle if you live in an area where you got to make a quick commute. So that's fine. That's fine. It's not that they should be completely eliminated. They need to be put in their place, and in their place, they're fine. If an EV suited my lifestyle, I would have an EV. Like, I'm not that against them. I'm against the mandates. I'm against the government demanding that manufacturers sell X amount of these, that the sale of internal combustion engines is going to be eliminated from X amount, all these different. That's nonsense. That's bullshit, right? But so I'm not against the concept of the EV. I'm against the way the EV is being shoved down everybody's throat and asked to do things it's not supposed to and cannot do efficiently. John Galkin, I showed the EV bus explosions to my kids, wanted them to be aware in case they find themselves in an EV. Yes, I mean, everybody should see that video. Well, those videos, because it's not just, I only showed two. You look up EV bus explosions, right? And they're everywhere, right? And they're violent, they're crazy, right? Every parent should see these videos. Every kid should see these videos to know what they're getting into. Dan Little, what is your opinion of hydrogen-powered vehicles? As far as I know, the jury is out as far as hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. I don't know if that's viable or not. As far as hydrogen powered like internal combustion engines, it's not practical. It's not practical. The volume of hydrogen that you need to store. So now I forget what the ratio is. I believe it's 4-to-1. Okay, so let's just say, for example, you've got 20 gallons of gasoline. To get the same range from a tank, you would need 80 gallons of hydrogen. All right. Now, where do you put 80 gallons of hydrogen in a vehicle? You see what I'm saying? Now you're getting into a whole different, right? So that's the basic problem with hydrogen. Danny Boy, what about the new Toyota water engine? I believe it when I see it. I believe it when I see it. Loud Burns, my grandkids have a Starrett punch in case the Tesla quits and they can't get out. Manfred Mann, I agree. Let the EV technology develop to where it's feasible and stop trying to legislate us into submissions. Exactly. Exactly. But I tell you what, though, right? And like not to run off into the conspiracy end of things, right? Because I'm always ready to run off into the conspiracy end of things. But if you Jeff Buys Cars did a video a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, I'm not sure, where he talks about what is perhaps and is kind of likely the real reason for the push to EVs. Okay. And I'll just leave it at that, right? Jeff Buys Cars. I can't think of the name of the video that he put out, but it was last week. And I think he actually hit it right on the money, right? But again, see, I don't want to go into that here now. Chris Freemasser, it's a no-win situation. You want to reduce pollution as quickly as possible to do climate change, but the auto tech isn't there yet to make it happen. No. Okay. See, now I have to be careful what I say, right? I have to be careful what I say because they pick up the transcript of all of these things, and there are certain things that would come out of my mouth that would cause me to have distribution problems on this platform. So I can't say what I want to say. So therefore, read between the lines of what I'm trying to say, and you'll know what I'm saying. Okay? Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else about that. Eric Cush, if water was fuel, it'd be hella expensive to live. Well, that's not true. There's water everywhere. Well, I mean, okay, it's not in a desert, but I mean, there's a limitless amount of water. The problem is the amount of electricity needed to separate the hydrogen from the water it's a net loss. It's a net loss. The energy that goes into breaking down the hydrogen or separating the hydrogen from the water is more energy than you save. And so no, that's the problem with hydrogen, with water fueled vehicles.
Hey Tony.
Yes, baby.
Kiwi sent me a message to you.
Oh, what's it say?
Tell Tony I sent him a pic of the non-resistant seal.
Let's see. Oh, there you go. Okay. So Kiwi found this transmission leak. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the front seal on his cast iron TorqueFlite. So, well, there you go. At least it's a straightforward thing. Okay, let's see. Yes, Rob Morris, you are correct. Okay, so Olive is saying when it comes to cracking water, you use energy that would otherwise go to waste entirely. What waste energy are you using for this? Mexican Spec. Tony, if you haven't seen the movie on Netflix, Leave the World Behind, the Tesla scene is hilarious. I've seen the Tesla scene. I haven't seen the movie. You really don't want to see the movie, but I have seen that scene. Yes. Zero. This one is wild. The gas released is what ignites on EV battery. I've seen several of those. I saw one put out by a fire. I don't know if that's the link that you're putting up right now, but I saw one done by a fire department where they had a building and they set off a lithium-ion battery to show how much the volume of gases that's released from this little battery, and it was mind-blowing. Jim Dupree, U.S. Navy submarines crack water to produce oxygen for breathing, only need to return to port for food. But that the oxygen for breathing isn't nearly as much volume as you need to run a car or an internal combustion engine. Okay, he's saying that this one is an old test done by science people. Okay. Sergeant Tom Bales, UT. I'm an old 72-year-old Porsche driver for 50 years. I won't even consider an electric Porsche or any EV. If it ain't gas, it won't pass my mind. Sarge, have you seen our shirts? Yes, they're available in our store right now. All of the sizes are back in stock. You love the shirts design? So do a lot of other people. We've sold a bunch of those things. We're on our second order now. Let's see. William Beardsley, hi, how about that race between the Camaro and the Dart in the New York City area? I wrote that story. It's called The Quarter Million, Quarter Mile. I wrote that almost 40 years ago for Cars Illustrated magazine. The legal department of the magazine changed some of the names. So where it should say Mutt Brothers, it's Mud Brothers. Stupid shit to get a story like that passed. They changed some names and didn't change others. But yeah, I wrote that story. Randall Munson, a guy in Texas has a small reactor that provides hydrogen for his cars. I mean, do you really want a bunch of, small reactors here and there? You see, that's, and I'm totally not down on nuclear energy. I think nuclear energy is the way to go, honestly, right? But professional nuclear energy. Don't want a bunch of random backyard guys with small reactors cracking water for hydrogen. That could be a problem. That could be a real problem. I would leave that to the professionals. Nuclear energy should be handled by professionals. I know, it's crazy, right? It's not the kind of thing you expect me to say, but yeah, leave that to the pros. Al was saying one of the big things about some sustainable though is how to store surplus. Cracking water is storage, and it makes useful pure oxygen. But the oxygen, we already have oxygen in the atmosphere. We need a fuel to burn with the oxygen. Territory. Tony, in your new podcast venture, would you consider reading articles you wrote during your publishing years? No, absolutely not. Mark Swab, you have to get one of those shirts. They're in our store, UncleTony'sGarage.com. We have all of our shirts are in the store. Um, 960 watt off the grid RV. I've run 30% kerosene in a full tank of gas before. Yeah, I mean, okay. So if it's a non-performance application, you're not going to step on this thing. Yeah, you could definitely stretch gasoline with kerosene, diesel fuel. You could stretch it. I would think 30% is a bit much. I would be comfortable like 15 or 20%. If you push it all the way to 30, that's fine. If it worked for you. You could stretch gasoline a little bit like that, but it's not a healthy thing. It's not a healthy thing for long-term use. No, we don't have 4X large. We have 2X. We go as big as 2X. Sorry, brother. Okay. Rob Morris. Giant flywheels on magnetic bearings have been thought to be a viable storage medium as well. But either way, there's a lot of infrastructure involved when burning natural gas. So much. Okay. But doesn't that kind of like doesn't that like tread into the zone of perpetual motion? Monk from Philly. Tony, remember I asked about shot peening torsion bars. Blast King's shot peening machines are applied to spiral springs, leaf springs, stabilizer bars, torsion bars, and gears. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't, myself personally, I wouldn't do it. I mean, you do it as you're making the torsion bar more brittle. You're taking some of its ductility away. Look, you could shot peen literally anything. I could shot peen my friggin' phone. It doesn't mean it's a good idea. Jason Moe. I used to drive a 1903 Maxwell, old Mopar. The oil dripped on the ground. Was that your daily, man? Did you daily a 1903 Maxwell? Because I salute you if you did. Yeah, total loss oiling. People don't understand about total loss oiling these days. Let's see. Mr. Nobody. I'm doing a budget cylinder head, and the exhaust valves are toast, but the seats look good. Can I just lap in new valves? You certainly can. Absolutely. If you've got a clean line on the seat, like if you know what I mean, if you can see a clean line on the seat, then yeah, absolutely. Just take your new valves, lap them in, and send it. The problem with giant flywheel is gyroscopic precession can't make turns. Tony, we need more rusty gold advice. What is the next cars that would be great to own flip, 80s or 90s cars? I have gotten big into XJs. I have 3 of them now. One of them you're going to see a lot of material on over the next a couple of weeks or so. Tomorrow, actually, starting tomorrow. I say the XJ is man's greatest achievement, period. So that would be my pick, but there are others. It is something that we'll do more of. We're going to go more in that direction. We're going to start doing more 80s and 90s stuff. Let's see. The Maxwell is in a museum now in Cal. So a lot of people don't know the Maxwell, right? Is an ancestry like the Mopar has a lot of ancestry, right? Stuff that previous to Dodge, Plymouth, Chrysler, and DeSoto. So the Maxwell was one of them, and the oldest car, I did a video about this too. The oldest car, if you take the Chrysler lineage and you run it back to the very, very, very first car, that you could say, well, this led to this, led to this, led to this, led to this. The very first Mopar was an electric car called the Electrobat in 1896. They built them in New York City, and Maxwell ended up buying Electrobat, and then Chrysler, Walter P, bought Maxwell. So it's like you trace the lineage back to the original Chrysler product, or the original thing that we would consider to be an ancestor of the Mopar, and it's an electric vehicle. Jake, will you make more engine videos like what you did with the Hemis? Been enjoying them. You know what, Jake? I swear to God, I really like doing those. I actually enjoy doing those videos. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like in the past, I did the Chevy, I did the Pontiac, I did the Oldsmobile, and I've been working through the early Hemis. And the next one I'm going to do is going to be on the Polyheads. And the weird vast family of polyheads. So yeah, I like making those videos myself. The only problem I have when I make those is there's so many, like I'll shoot the video, and then as soon as I'm done shooting, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this, I forgot about that. I should probably do a proper thing and write a script, right? So that or at least make bullet points that I can remember what each thing is, but my ADD won't let me do that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do more of those. Tony, when will Andy be back on the channel? You mean Andy Hansen with the Hemi GTX, or Andy Unity Motorsports Garage? Either of them are always welcome back on my channel. Yes, Robbie, we're gonna do that 392 for Kiwi. Yeah, Andy's GTX. So he has another car. He has a Charger, a 68 Charger that he wants to do. My problem right now is just logistics, how we're going to do it. So yeah, he's I owe him a phone call back. I've been just, my head's been occupied, so I haven't really had a chance to talk to him. But yes, he wants to do a Hemi GT, not a Hemi GTX. He wants to do a 68 Charger. Dakota, did you drive Bottle Rocket and slam him to the Chopper Trail? Actually, I had my friend Chuck. My friend Chuck Yoder's got a rollback, and I just let him bring all of the cars over. GTX Andy is a thrashing machine. That is no lie, man. He's good. He's really good. You want to talk about a no nonsense guy that just gets out of business and gets it done. Andy Hansen. Build a gyro car, Tony. Not the gyro sandwich, but the one that stands on top. I would much rather build a car out of gyro meat. I think that would be awesome. Should have drove Bottle Rocket. If them cops gave you any trouble, you could have outran them. Dude, it's got 456 gears in it, you know, and it's got front runners on the back and drag radials, or front runners on the front, drag radials in the back. I got to listen to that thing scream for the 25-mile trip and tear up the tires that are on it. Ain't worth it, man. Stick it on a trailer and bring it over. End of time. Can you get floors for a 69 Newport? No. Nobody makes that kind of replacement part for C bodies. That's the kind of thing you just got to do some fabrication, you know, just cut away the bad stuff, leave as much of it of the original floor pan as you can, and then just patch metal into it. That's really the only way with those cars. It would have been more fun to outrun the cops. Well, you see, I wouldn't be able to outrun them because the top end isn't there. It's got 456 gears. So the car's got like maybe 110, 120 mile an hour top end maxed out. No, I wouldn't stand a chance. I could out accelerate them. It would take them a long time to catch up to me, but then once they did, I'm done. Do you still have the Cup? Yes, I do. I have two Sportsters and the Super Cup here at the house. Charlie, yes. The gyro running on tzatziki sauce. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Now I'm hungry. Brock Yates, while you were a writer, did you ever cross paths? I've always been a big fan of his work, but no, never crossed paths with him. Randall Munson, Tony, ever get the impression that even-year Chargers, mid-60s, look better than the afterthought odd-year ones? I disagree. I totally disagree. I think that the 66 and 67 are the same color, minor trim, minor trim variations. But no, I disagree because I think the 69 Charger is better looking than the 68, and the 70. I'm really not crazy about the 70. So no. And then the 71 Charger is absolutely beautiful. The 71 Charger, I think the 71 Charger is the slickest out of all of them. So no, I think we have opposite tastes, Randall. Dakota, I couldn't imagine 456 as my Trans Am has 373s, so it's more extreme than I like, but it runs hard to 120. Well, yeah, well, that's the thing, when you deal with old school stuff, see, new school it's different, okay, because you get all your overdrive transmissions. It's just a way different thing. But when you build a simple old school, you either have top end or you have acceleration. So a car like Bottle Rocket is all about the first like 300 feet. You know what I'm saying? The car does its work at about 300 feet, and then the rest of the time it's just kind of going through the motions. So it's like that's. All right, James, why weren't the 66, 67 Chargers popular? You know what? Honestly, man, they're a face that only a mother could love, only a Mopar freak could love. I love them. They're a little weird. Okay, they're a little weird. And, you got to admit, once the second generation came along, that classic Coke bottle shape, it really eclipsed everything, that came before it. So, yeah, but I love them. I love them. I think the 66, 67s are just, they're so majestic. They're majestic. Yeah, HHH Plymouth. My brother-in-law had a 68 three-quarter ton Chevy with 456 gears and ran a lot of RPM at 60 miles an hour. When I was younger, it was like, yeah, I don't know, just go, right? And you drive down the highway going, and like at 55, and you're like, I'm okay with this. This is fine. It don't work like that anymore, Now traffic moves along like 75, 80 miles an hour, and you're really, really, really leaning on it to keep up with traffic, and it's just not worth it. Let's see. A bit weird, like the AMC Marlin and Tarp. Yeah, I know. Well, we'll do this again, Charles. Did you ever touch on why you didn't want to be bothered with David Vizard's build he's doing? Because the original intention, and I laid it out in the video, the introductory video to it. The original intention was to take the stock parts and modify the stock original parts from that engine to see what could be made, just employing every trick in the book to the parts that were there. That was the whole point of it. Once you start incorporating parts from different engines and all kinds of exotic, make this fit, make that fit, you've completely lost the purpose, the reason for doing the build. The whole idea was to take a completely dead stock engine and using those parts, like the camshaft, in my mind, regrind the stock cam, right? That's it. That's as far as you want to go. But those cylinder heads, that block, those pistons, right? The whole idea was to maximize through common machining practices like offset grinding the crank and stuff like that, decking the block, decking the block, milling the heads, good valve job with the stock size valves. All that. The whole point was to see if we could make 1 horsepower per cubic inch out of a stock 318. And then it just went off to a completely different place. And so that's why I stopped. It was like, no, this makes no sense at all. This is not what the project was supposed to be. Let's see. Fleetwood 66, 67 interior was so cool. So trivia, right? A little trivia of 66, 67 Charger trivia is that the 66 has a full-length console. So it starts, and my car's a 67, but it has a 66 interior in it. So the 66 has a full-length console, but the government had a problem with that because the backseat passengers They want the way the government wanted cars designed was, and it makes sense. It makes sense. They want everybody to be able to get in from the passenger side of the car. So if the car is parked at the curb, they want everybody who gets in the car to be able to get in through the passenger side of the car. And because of that full-length console, the government made them change it in '67. Excuse me. So now it's got a two-piece console in '67. Yes, Charles. I hope that makes sense. I literally I've said it. I'm certainly not. You're asking an honest question, but I've covered this so many friggin' times. It keeps coming up, and that's the reason. It's just it went off into a completely different idea. Let's see. Let's see. Brian Levin, isn't the only difference between Mission Impossible I've seen is LS valves? No, the plan there was for fucking different style pistons, different cylinder heads. They're going with the closed chamber, the 302 casting heads, all different variations from this thing. And no, there was a lot of small things that added up to like, no, that's not the motor. That's not the idea that we were talking about. It was supposed to be an apples to apples comparison. So here's the dead stock engine. This is what it makes. Okay. Here's the engine after we modified its cylinder heads, its block, its pistons. We lightened this and changed that and milled the other thing and ground the other thing off and blah, 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 blah. And this is what it makes after we applied all of those tricks to this engine. See what I'm saying? Two completely different things. You can't compare now. You can't make an apples to apples comparison. Made muscle. 8th Mile Racing itself sucks, but the fast 8th Mile cars are incredible. Some of the guys are insane. 8th Mile Racing. Now that I've become accustomed, when I was a kid, oh God, up until about just a few years ago, right? I was like quarter mile. Everything's going to be quarter mile, or just don't even waste your time. I have completely done an about face. Now that I'm familiar with the 8th Mile, now that I understand the 8th Mile, now that I've accepted it, now it's completely different. Now it's like to me, a quarter mile is pointless. It's like, and if you stop and you think about it, right? You've all, I don't know, all of you, whoever you've run a quarter mile track, what is the second half of the track? You get to the 660 foot mark, the 8th mile, okay? You're in high gear, okay? By the time you get to the 8th mile, in a race car, okay, or a car that's prepped for racing, where you've got gears and shit like that. By the time you get to the 8th mile, you're in high gear. Now, what happens between 660 feet and 1,320 feet? Like nothing, okay? Nothing. The race is won or lost really off the starting line. And any major moves are going to happen between like 300 and 600 feet, right? If anything is going to change. From 660 feet to 1,320, you just sit there and listen to your stuff try to unscrew itself. That's it, right? And you cannot tell me otherwise, because that's it. All the action is done by the 8th mile. Barrows, what's happening, Barrows? Not so sunny San Diego. You should drop in on Kiwi. He's there in El Cajon. Nick R., you think maybe you'll do your own Mission Impossible 318 so people will stop asking about it twice per year? Well, I'll tell you what. Okay. one of the things I need to secure is dyno access. I need access to a dyno. And a chassis dyno is fine, okay? Because I could do a 318 like that. And I could actually just bolt it as a bottle rocket to, just even a chassis dyno is fine, right? So I've already got cars that I can bolt it into, stick it on a chassis dyno and do apples to apples comparison. I just do not have anybody locally that I know that I know that I can deal with a chassis dyno. That is something I am absolutely looking into doing, but just not yet. Joseph Litza, what do you think about eliminating distributor and single coil on RB to make more power? Tell me how that would work. Tell me how you make more power by eliminating the distributor and the single coil. Give me an example where that makes more power. Joe K, if you're making big top end power, you need the extra track length to run it out. That's where a quarter mile or even a half mile would be favorable over the eighth. No, drag racing is an acceleration contest, right? Drag racing is not about speed. Drag racing is about acceleration, and your maximum acceleration takes place in the first eighth mile. The most important part of any run is the 60 foot. The 60 foot is it. For instance, now that I'm moved into the new shop, I'm going to start looking to join in with somebody's test session because I want to take bottle rocket and 60 foot the car. I have absolutely no interest at all right now in running the car all the way through. I do not care what the eighth mile times are going to be or what the finish line times are going to be. I need to work on that car 60 foot. So I need to take it to the track and I need to make repetitive 60 foots and play with tire pressure, play with launch RPM, play with all different variables and find out what the car's sweet spot is without the complication of the rest of the track. You see what I'm saying? Drag racing is an acceleration contest. The most important part of the drag strip is the first inch. The most critical part of the first run is the 60 foot. And then you have diminishing points of return or diminishing points of importance the further down the track you get. So now if you're talking about running a quarter mile, half mile, 1 mile, now you're talking land speed racing. That's a completely different thing. That's not drag racing. All right. So anyway, guys, it's okay. I'm already like 10 minutes over. I have to pull the plug on this thing because I got to get up early. I got so much stuff I got to do. So I'm gonna end this thing now. Okay, what do I need to plug? Okay, so Kiwi is in the middle of his big adventure. He's out there. He just pulled the transmission out of his car. He posted the first installment today, and then tonight he's posting a second installment, what they're up to right now. So go over to Kiwi's channel and of course sub and the whole thing is if you haven't done that already, and go check out what's going on with Kiwi. This Wednesday night for our tech talk, Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage is going to be substituting for Kiwi. So come and hang out with Jamie, especially if you're a Mopar guy. If you're into Mopars, man, you do not want to miss having Jamie on. To our fantastic mods, zero, Fubar, Ari. I don't know if Ari was here tonight, right? And Mexican Spec. Thank you guys. Keeping everything straight and Zero and Fubar already putting up links. Thank you. Everybody who contributed with Super Chat, thank you very much. Always greatly appreciated. Never expected, but always appreciated. Everybody contributed with just your presence and your conversation. Thank you equally. We genuinely appreciate and love all of you guys. you make it possible for a ding dong like me to sit in front of a freaking camera and make a living, which is the most ridiculous thing in the freaking world. But yeah, here we are. So thank you. Thank you. And that's it. I am going to pull the plug, and I'll see you Wednesday night. Good night, all.